So, welcome. Okay. I have the privilege of having some time with a good friend of mine, Barbara, who is just an inspiration. She, I've known her for years through our Bible study, and through the years we've gone through seasons, and we just thank God for all the great things that He's brought into our lives and through the journeys. And currently, Barbara's going through a very difficult journey now. And even amongst as difficult as it is, she always is so inspiring and encouraging and never complaining. And there are others that are suffering as well. And so I invited her to just share. I just want to have a conversation with this wonderful woman to find out what her secrets are and how she gets through it. And so anyway, welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to share a little bit of, anything about what the condition that you're facing, or the kind of treatments that you have to get through in very general terms. And
Well, I'm diagnosed with multiple myeloma, and I was in the hospital and I had chronic pain in the back, and they gave me some aspirin and the lidocaine patch, and it was okay. And I came home, and I was just in so much pain. I just thought, God, you got to take me. And so I kept praying, and then all of a sudden, this radiologist came into my life, a visiting nurse came into my life, and I was just thanking God for all this help. And within a couple days of radiation, the pain was dissipated. So I'm great. I know, and I'm walking again. I wasn't able to walk. I was limping around, and I thought, oh, this is it. God's going to take me, and I thought, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Whatever you have in store for me is fine. And I don't feel like that today. It's amazing. I'm just so grateful that the whole situation has just been turned around.
Wow.
And but yeah, it's been since the diagnosis. It was, things were going pretty good. I just had some side effects, and then I wound up in the hospital for a gallbladder, and then I wound up in the hospital for hypocalcemia, which is something you get when your chemo drugs go off.
Oh.
I know, it was like, what is this? Like, what's going on here? And I said to the doctor, I said, just, stop everything and just let me go. And he's like, no, this is, this can be taken care of. But I had no idea, because I felt so like I couldn't even pray the Our Father. My mind was so gone. And I kept trying to pray and trying to pray. By the end of my hospital stay, I was able to pray the Our Father. And it was like, okay, I must be getting well, getting better anyway. So, I was released after that. And so now I'll go into the hospital again for on the 9th for more round-the-clock chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor said after that I'll be able to do outpatient. But in order to keep the myeloma at bay, they need to do these intense infusions. So I'm looking forward to the menu. I know the menu by heart now.
Oh, Barbara, I love you. You're so
I know to pack a nice warm robe, because it's cold in there, and a warm, warm pajamas and things like that. And so I have my Bible, and I have some extracurricular Christian reading that I do. And, the time flies when you're having fun. It's,
oh my God.
it's amazing. I just, even now, I'm like, I get up and I have all these things to do, just like before. But yeah, so it's definitely a journey, and I've been through a lot of journeys in the past. So it's like, okay, Lord, this is another one, and everybody's got their wheelbarrow to push up the hill. So
That's one way of, that's an analogy.
yeah, everybody's got something, and so this is mine, and so it's like,
Mm.
okay, God, I accept it, and and I talk to people who are not in the same boat, but have cancer, and there's just so there's just so much involved with it. Just taking care of yourself, keeping your appointments, making sure your brain fog doesn't get in the way.
Ah,
So, but the radiation that I've been going through, I just thank the assistants at the place where I go for the radiation. I just say, this is like a miracle for me. I just thought I was doomed to not walk again.
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, thank you, God. There are miracles like this. I feel
Mm,
like I'm experiencing one now. So
wow.
you know, who knows what's in store? And the visiting nurse that comes, she said, "Oh, you have multiple myeloma. Oh," she said, "People with that live a long time." I said, "Really?" Because one doctor said, they can put it at bay, but they can't cure it. And she said, "Oh, I know a woman who's been in remission for 10 or 20 years."
Oh my God. That's so encouraging. That message was meant for you.
No, and I said, "You are kidding me." She said, "No, I have a couple of patients who have been in remission from multiple myeloma." And I was shocked, because that's not what the literature says.
Mm,
And they have all, the medical community has all these treatments, and I think, oh, I have to go here, I have to go get this, I got to go get that, and then I just stay at home because, well, with COVID, nobody's going anywhere,
right.
and
Wow.
so I'm just trusting my doctor,
Mm,
and what he says. So
yeah. How has, since the COVID-19, that's affected, I know, because we can't visit you like we would. So,
no. At one point I could have one visitor a day at the hospital, and then they stopped all that.
mm,
And I think that's why my oncologist wants me to go into the hospital for the infusion, just because your white blood cell, your immune system goes down. And well, hospitals they check you every 4 hours. It's like no sleep for the wicked. It's like, okay, take your blood pressure, check your blood, do this, do that. It's like, you're never going to die in the hospital. They won't let you.
oh, well, I just love how you just see all the positives, and it's just amazing. So I asked some friends of mine, it's like, okay, if you can ask anything to Barbara, what kind of questions would you ask? And so um, you can take your pick and just let me know, what you want to answer. But they mentioned, how has your experience of God changed through your life experience? And you've gone through so many, like you said, journeys. This is just
Yeah.
one of them. And I look forward to having a time to go through a couple of your other journeys.
Oh boy.
What is another one? How has your image of God changed through your life experiences? Has your relationship with God changed through this, or has?
Well, it's, God is God. He's in charge of everything, you know, creator, maintainer, and destroyer. And whatever comes, I'm like, oh, first I start searching for my sin list. And where do I need to repent? And so there's always lots of that comes up. That's amazing. That's things I thought I was over, but then I see a resentment that I, haven't. I didn't realize I was hanging on to it, but it was always there.
Mm,
It was. One of my most recent was I had an aunt who died of Alzheimer's, and this is so horrible, but I wished I would have seen her in that mental state, because she used to put down my mother,
mm,
because my mother was ill,
mhm,
and she used to put down my mother, and I always hated that because my mother was sick. She
mhm.
couldn't help it.
Yeah.
And so I had to really hunker down and say, God, you got to relieve me of this resentment and this need to, uh, say like, oh, she got what she deserved, kind of thing. When she didn't, that was just her journey. But I did have it deep in my mind,
Mm,
just from all those years ago. And it was just like, okay, God, this is not something, this is bad. This is not a good thing. And, please relieve me of it. And I haven't had any thoughts about it.
wow.
It's,
That's the
I
Lord.
know it's kind of like, it's been very relieving that I think I was finally willing to let it go,
Mm,
because one wants to protect one's mother and family and everything like that. And I really did not like the way she talked about my mother, and so I wanted to defend my mother and uh, you know get revenge.
yeah. Yeah. You want to see justice, but
Exactly, exactly. And it's not my place. I mean, it's just
mm,
not my place, but it's such a human thing. So that
right.
that came to the forefront very clearly, and I had to admit it and release it and give it to God, and God took it. I believe
Wow.
God took it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Wow. What a lesson, especially, today with all these um, conflict that's going on. I don't know if you've been watching the news, which is
Yeah.
difficult to see, but there's a lot of conflict and there's going to be a lot of resentments and things. And this is the way that, God would want us to settle it. um, and he's the judge and he would take care of that.
I know. I look at the news and I just think, gosh, why don't you guys just become Christians? They
But
will
even
always.
Christians, they struggle. We're human. And that's
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus
But
came.
the violence really gets me. That
Yeah.
like, come on, you guys. This is, it's like God help them, Um, but Satan's alive and well, and we know it, and we have to carry the message. We just have to
Mhm.
carry the message wherever we
Yeah.
go.
Are there certain verses that have been encouraging for you that you've kind of been meditating on, or any any ones that always kind of pop up to help you through?
Well, I read the Bible through in 1 year. So there's always a psalm, and most recently 1 Samuel, I think it's the late 20 verses where, David's running away from Saul all the time because Saul's trying to kill him. Poor David. He takes his will back, and then he gives it to God again. And it's amazing because David's so spiritual and so close to God, but even he, fell and trying to get away from Saul and thinking he had to get away from him, and didn't trust God. And then finally God, relieves him of his conflict, and sends him, sends him back to his people. he doesn't have to lie to Achish anymore. And so, those kind of stories really
Mm,
help me to
yeah.
see that God is working even when we think he's not. And like little Bible verses are fine, but I like the big stories where they're long and drug out, and and it's, okay, what's going to happen next? This is ridiculous. And so David gets relieved from the Philistines, because they're like, hey, we don't trust this guy. He's not really one of us. No matter what you say. And so yeah, that recently that came to me. My friend was in a work situation, and it was horrible, and she was just like, I wish they would just fire me, so I could collect unemployment and all this other kind of stuff, but if I quit, I won't be able to do that. So that story reminded me, and she got fired,
Oh,
and
and she
and
got
I was
unemployed. Oh.
so she gets all the bennies, and she didn't have to do anything. All she did was stick in there, just like
Mm,
David did, and was released from the situation by a power greater than herself, known
yeah,
as God.
yeah.
And
What
I
a
kept
great
telling her, I
story.
said, yeah, I was just like, keep praying for the people, Mary. Just keep praying for them and their health and their
Mm,
well-being. And so I don't know what goes on in the work world, but apparently it would behoove them to, uh, you know, let people go, and they would, be financially taken care of. But yeah, that's my most recent.
well, maybe weekly I could interview you with, and you can share the latest Bible story.
I love them. They used to bug me. Ezekiel is a real doozy, because there's just so much. Oh man, God's just really clearing it up. So it's just like, so I watch the news and I go, okay, so what's different? It's just like, oh, the Bible and the news, well, pretty much the same thing. But
Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, it's
We can see the writing on the wall, you know?
exactly. Yeah, it's quite fascinating. The Bible's a little violent at times, and so God doesn't put up with a whole lot. When
Hmm.
he's had enough, it's just like, okay, I've had enough.
Yeah, in his time.
Exactly.
So, is there any particular way that we can pray for you and keep you in thought for your chemo begins next week? Is that right?
Yeah, I go into the hospital on the 9th, and I come out on the 13th. So, um,
We're going to
my
write that down.
yeah, my
9th and
kitties are
13th.
taken care of, and hopefully, um, my housekeeper's car will be repaired. She called today. She said, I can't get your laundry over because the car is broken. And was just like, don't worry about the laundry. Just, take care of your car and everything like that.
Hmm.
But it's amazing. God has me in the moment all the time. There's
Hmm.
always something for me to do. There's unlimited access to prayer and people to pray for. And I I am amazed at how present he has made me. And so I continue to, I ask prayer for that. And also, that, if it be God's will that the myeloma go into remission. And if not, I'm fine with that too. The doctor knows that. I told him, I said, when I'm ready for hospice, just let me know. Um, I'm only concerned about my kitties. It's just like,
Baby.
I want to outlive my kitties, but
Yeah.
it's another one of those "I will be done" things. So they're
Yeah.
taken care of now, and they're happy, and they don't look like they're going to be going home to God anytime soon. So
They're, yeah, they're your support system at home for the fuzzies.
they are so cute. They must know I'm wounded.
Of
They
course
must
they
know it.
do. They have that
Yeah,
sense. Yeah,
yeah.
God provides our animals too. I totally believe that.
I know. Francesca, she just nudges me so hard in the face at night. It's just like, okay, Francesca, okay, I get it, I get it. But yeah,
And those
those
that don't know, those the fuzzies are her two cats.
yeah, Francesca and Rojo del Toro, my little tank, my little muscle buddy.
Oh, well, it's been great visiting with you, and we'll be praying for you for your visit at the hospital next week, and we'll pray for miracles. And we just
Yeah, yeah. I believe in them, and I mean, I'm like, it's one day at a time, one moment at a time, and that keeps me close to God, keeps me close to relying on Jesus for everything. And yeah, it was last week I couldn't walk, and this week I can. So
think that is
yeah,
amazing.
I know it's
Yeah.
just like I thought, okay,
Wow.
I'm gonna be on medication, and I had this dim view, and then all of a sudden I was walking. And physical therapist was encouraging me to walk more, which is what I'm going to do today with Phyllis. We're going for our
Oh,
walk. So
awesome. Okay.
yeah, so we go around the block and think we've run a marathon.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm gonna put both on the same page here. And thanks again, Barbara. Have a great walk with Phyllis. And
Okay, Sandy.
we'll check in with you next week.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure.
God bless you.
Okay, bye-bye.
We love you. Bye.